Welcome back, Bookworms. This is Mrs. K. I'm glad you could join me. Nate Gadol is a great big generous spirit. He can make anything last as long as they are needed, like a tiny bit of oil that must stretch for 8 nights. In our story today, Nate works his magic to help out the Glazers and the O'Malleys, especially for Christmas and Hanukkah. Let's enjoy the magic of reading as we read together The Hanukkah Magic of Nate Gadol, written by Arthur A. Levine and illustrated by Kevin Hawks, and see what Nate does to help the families. Nate Gadol was a great big spirit who had eyes as shiny as golden coins and a smile that was lantern bright. In answer to people's prayers, he made things last as long as they needed to. Sometimes the task was huge, like when he got the call from above to make a tiny bit of oil last 8 days and nights in the far-off long ago. And sometimes it was a smaller thing, like keeping a flower fresh long after it should have faded, to keep up the spirits of someone sick in bed. Big or small, the task would suit Nate either way. It didn't matter if he was making butter stretch for an important cake or keeping a dam strong in a storm. Singers didn't need him necessarily to hold a very long note, but if a person's whole life depended on it, you could count on him. Nate especially liked the Glazer family, who took a boat over from Europe during what should have been the Purim holiday. They spent every last penny buying their passage, so of course there was nothing left over for gift baskets. Mrs. Glazer had brought along her last bit of chocolate, planning to share it with the children for the holiday. But when the time neared and she looked at the small lump wrapped carefully in a handkerchief, her heart sank, knowing it would not be enough. Yet come the eve of the holiday, when she pulled out the handkerchief, there was not one lump, but 3. And every time she broke off a piece, it seemed that there was more she hadn't noticed. Nate loved stuff like that. They were such a hard-working bunch, those Glazers. So friendly, too. And when they got to America, they shared what little they had with their closest neighbors, the O'Malleys. When the days got colder, they gave an outgrown coat to Fergus O'Malley, and little Elijah Glazer helped push the O'Malley's potato cart home from the market. But no one was prepared for that winter of 1881. That year, the cold came early. The harvest was slim, and the crowds in the market thinned. Mrs. Glazer shared their food around as best she could and sometimes skipped her portion. Then next door, baby Carrie O'Malley got sick and her family had no money for medicine. Oh no. Nothing Nate Gadol could do about that. He couldn't stretch what wasn't there. But Mr. Glazer sold a small bench he'd been carving and gave the money to the O'Malleys to buy medicine for Carrie. Nate could stretch that to last till she was better. Still, it meant there was nothing left over for Hanukkah sweets. "Oh, well," Mr. Glazer said to Mrs. Glazer, "Hanukkah chocolate's nice, but it's not so important." Of course, they both knew the kids would be disappointed. That night happened to be Christmas Eve. The wind howled through the cracks like an angry cat, and snow began to settle on the rooftops where Nate Gadol stood looking out over the street. Suddenly, Nate heard a rumble of something like hooves on tar and a voice shouting, "Whoa!" behind him. It was a man in a bright red suit, a gang of reindeer breathing clouds heavily into the cold air, and a sleigh that looked decidedly off-kilter. The red-suited man was not happy. "Hey, Nick, what's the matter?" asked Nate. The two knew each other from way, way back. "I don't know what happened," Santa said. "The sleigh magic is nearly empty. Are there a lot of people having trouble believing this year?" "'Fraid so," said Nate, thinking of the O'Malleys. Then suddenly an idea came to him. "Hey, Nick, you got any chocolate loaded on that sleigh of yours? Could I borrow a little?" "I'm sure we could find something in all these presents," said Nick. A happy handshake, and a few minutes later, each friend had helped the other. Santa's sleigh was now sparkling with Gadol magic, and Nate's sack was full to the brim. Oh, that's so nice. In the O'Malley's apartment, boxes with ribbons and shiny paper spilled out from under the tree. And in the Glazers, big bags of Hanukkah chocolate sat outside each person's bedroom door on top of something that had never been there in years past. Boxes with ribbons and shiny paper, too. After that, the idea of Hanukkah presents really caught on. I mean, what could be bad about presents? And if times were hard, there was always someone they could turn to. Because Nate Gadol is never too far away if a family is one latke, one candle, or one wish short of a magical holiday. If you enjoyed this story, please check it out at your local library or buy a copy from your favorite bookstore.